BBA 104, Indian Ethos and Business Ethics, Unit 13, Ethical Issues. Let's start with the introduction to consumerism. Consumerism refers to a social and economic ideology that places a strong emphasis on the acquisition and consumption of goods and services. It is a pervasive cultural and economic phenomenon that influences that way societies function, impacting individual behavior, values, and the overall structure of economies. Consumerism is driven by the idea that pursuit of material possessions and constant consumption of goods lead to personal happiness, social status, and economic growth. Now let's understand consumerism. If we go back 15, not 15, farther back than that, we did have flights, we did have railways also as a mode of commute, we did have cars. But did we engage in flying from flights as commonly as that we do now? No. Why? Because the options available to us were limited. What money we had was limited. Our purchasing power was limited. But now we are participant in a society where capitalism and consumerism go hand in hand. We develop a solution to every problem, to every need, forcing people to engage in consumerism. A couple of years back, or still if we talk about in tier 2 or tier 3 cities, an app service based application like Urban Clap would not flourish because consumerism cannot be satisfied. People would still go to the labor chalk, find a carpenter or a plumber for their needs. But in a tier 1 city, for something as simple as calling a plumber, electrician, or carpenter to your place, you go to an application, you book your service, and you have someone coming to your doorstep. That's how consumerism has been integrated in our lives now. And it is an economic ideology because now we say that to every problem there is a solution. We do not have to struggle to attain what we wish with ease and comfort because consumerism has brought everything to our doorsteps and on our fingertips. Now let's talk about key aspects of consumerism. First one, materialism. Consumerism is closely tied to materialism. The belief that material possessions and wealth are central to human well-being and happiness. Materialistic values encourage individuals to measure success and self-worth through the accumulation of goods and the pursuit of luxury. We all let I would like to quote my own example when I'm trying to explain materialism here. When I was growing up in the 90s, we used to follow the habit of hands down clothing or sharing clothing with our cousins or the elders in the family. Someone would wear it, it would come down to you. But now, if we talk about a Gen Alpha that is growing up in front of us, if we propose such a thing to them, will it be acceptable to the children or to us even as their parents or guardian generation? No. Because now we feel that we are giving a good life to our child if he or she possesses a certain number of toys, clothes, luxuries. That's only we prove to be good parents or we think that we are providing a good life to our child. That is how materialism has overpowered our sense of maintaining the balance between our requirements and needs. Like when we were talking about the knowledge shared by Vedas, they said material possessions are needed, they are important, but you have to strike a balance between your material possessions and the level of detachment that you can have. The second key aspect of consumerism is advertising and marketing. Consumerism is heavily supported by advertising and marketing efforts. Companies use various strategies to create desires, promote products, and persuade consumers to buy. Advertising often appeals to emotions, aspirations, and societal trends to drive consumer demand. A very beautiful example to explain advertising and marketing and how they ingrain thoughts in our mind is the celebration of Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. What were these? These were brilliant advertising and marketing campaign ideas that came to the best marketers in the world. They said that if you love someone, you will show it in terms of gifts, chocolates, bags, watches, and you will give to the person you love. If you don't do it, you do not have the same sentiment. And this opinion has been made so popular by the advertiser and marketers that in today's day, a partner does not celebrate Valentine's Day with the other one. They start questioning their relationship, the foundation of their relationships, because they have appealed through emotions. Then let's talk about aspirations. If we see an advertisement of a car or an automobile, they show a person uh, driving a two-wheeler and looking at the cross that a car that crosses or passes by. The person wants to move from the two-wheeler to the car. Then another ad, they would show a person in that same car, but a more expensive or a better version of that car passes by. Now you aspire to belong to that league. So at every time, the advertisement and marketing is making us aspire to achieve more, to spend more, to possess more. And that's what consumerism wanted to do. They said that as long as we are able to sell the product, as long as we are able to make that thought arise in the mind of our consumers that I want to buy this, that's the kind of marketing and advertising we will keep doing. Third, mass production and consumption. Industrialization and technological advancements have enabled mass production, making goods more accessible and affordable to larger segments of the population. Thus, in turn, fuels higher levels of consumption. Now, if I talk about clothing and the fashions that come and go every now and then, the fads that we follow in apparel or fashion industry, Zara and H&M's are producing for the entire world across geographies and have made things accessible, so easy to possess that now nobody is deprived of it. And everybody wants to buy another top, another jeans, or another pair of shoes. That is also a key aspect of consumerism, which is mass production. Credit and debit. Consumerism can lead to increased borrowing and debt as individuals may seek to maintain a certain standard of living beyond their current means. Easy access to credit and the availability of loans can contribute to overconsumption and financial instability. Today, the availability of credit card or credit services is so easily and readily available for everyone's use that to even maintain a facade or to show a certain standard of life, a person engages in credit schemes and follow the idea of consumerism by possessing more and more things, which is not even contenting their inner self, which is just providing them a certain social status or validating their social position. Environmental impact. High levels of consumption can strain natural resources, contribute to pollution, and lead to environmental degradation. Consumerism's negative impact on the environment has led to discussions about sustainable consumption and the need for more responsible consumer choices. One of the biggest contributors of pollution in the world right now is the fashion industry. The amount of clothes that we are buying and discarding has no limits now. So now the impacts of consumerism and the high level of consumptions has started impacting the nature, which is the first thing that we have to take care of, which we have been learning in the previous units are considered as a dharma towards the society. But we are consciously ruining our society by engaging in consumerism. Sixth, identity and status. Consumerism often influences how individuals perceive themselves and how they are perceived by others. Possessions, brands, and consumption patterns can make symbols of social status and identity, leading to the formation of distinct consumer cultures. Consumerism gives you a certain social status. If someone is getting down from an expensive car, they will automatically be respected. They will automatically be put on a pedestal because they have a certain possession. And that feeling of being on the top tier is what a person aspires for and engages in consumerism. Seventh, economic growth. Consumer spending is a significant driver of economic growth in many societies. Governments and policy makers often encourage consumer spending to stimulate economic activity, create jobs, and maintain overall economic stability. Consumerism does have this positive effect, which is the incoming of money in the society, in the economy, which can only happen if people do not follow the thought of saving and follow the thought of spending, buying more and more, creating flow of money. 8. Critiques of consumerism. Critics of consumerism raise concerns about its potential negative effects on personal well being, social values, and the environment. They argue that an excessive focus on materialism can lead to shallow relationships, social inequality, and a disregard for long term societal and environmental sustainability. Alternative movements. Various movements have emerged as a response to consumerism, advocating for minimalism, sustainable living, and conscious consumer choices. These movements encourage individuals to reconsider their consumption patterns and prioritize experiences and well being over material possessions. Now, let's talk about the effect of media on consumerism. The media plays a significant role in shaping and influencing consumerism in modern societies. Through various channels such as advertising, entertainment, news, and social media, the media has a powerful impact on consumer behavior, values, and perceptions. Here are some key effects of media on consumerism. First, advertising and promotion. One of the most direct ways the media affects consumerism is through advertising. Advertisements are designed to create desires, promote products, and influence purchasing decisions. They often portray an idealized lifestyle or image that consumers aspire to, leading them to associate certain products with happiness, success, or social acceptance. Second, consumer identity. The media contributes to the formation of consumer identity by showcasing products and lifestyles that are considered desirable or fashionable. People often use products to express their identity, and media representation influence how they perceive themselves and others. Third, social comparisons. Media portrayals of celebrity, influencers, and fictional characters can lead to social comparisons. Consumers may feel the pressure to emulate the consumption patterns of these figures, which can lead to increased spending and a desire for status associated products. Fourth, trends and fads. Media has the power to create and amplify trends and fads, influencing consumer preferences and driving demand for specific products. When a product or style is portrayed as popular or in, consumers are more likely to adopt it. Fifth, materialism and aspirational lifestyle. Media content often emphasizes material wealth and a luxurious lifestyle. This portrayal can contribute to materialistic values, where individuals place a high importance on acquiring possessions as means of achieving happiness and success. Sixth, cultural homogenization. Global media exposure can lead to cultural homogenization, where similar consumer preferences, products, and lifestyles become prevalent across different societies. This can contribute to a sense of sameness and uniformity in consumer choices. Seventh, influence of social media. Social media platforms have intensified the impact of media on consumerism. Users are exposed to curated images and lifestyle of others, leading to a sense of social pressure to engage in similar consumption behaviors. Social media also serve as a platform for targeted advertising and influencer marketing. Information dissemination. The media informs consumers about new products, sales, discounts, and market trends. This can influence consumers' perception of value and drive them to make purchases based on perceived scarcity or urgency. Ninth, debt and overspending. The media's constant exposure to materialistic messages can contribute to a culture of overconsumption and excessive spending. Consumers may feel compelled to buy more than what they need, leading to increased borrowing, debt, and financial stress. 10th, environmental impact. Media's portrayal of excessive consumption without addressing its environmental consequences can contribute to unsustainable behaviors. However, the media also has the power to educate and promote sustainable consumption practices. Ethical issues in different industries. Now, we have multiple industries operating in our world. Let's discuss the ethical issues prevailing in them one by one. First, let's talk about ethical issues in sales promotions. Okay. When it comes to sales promotions, many ethical issues can arise. One of the most well known issues is with sales promotion happened with the popular McDonald's game. McDonald's ran its Monopoly game as a method to increase the consumer purchase of meals along with Monopoly game pieces that could net consumers winnings from the fast food joint. Not only was the game popular with customers, but it did exactly what the sales promotion was supposed to do. It increased sales. Unfortunately, the head of security for the company that ran the promotion and printed the game pieces took out all the winning game pieces in a scam worth $24 million. And that kind of scam could agree can happen in when you're talking about sales promotion. Other could be hidden fees. One of the most common issues with ethics in sales promotion is the hidden fees that might be tacked onto the promotion. The travel and hospitality industry can be an example of the hidden fees often found in the fine print for the unwary customer looking for a deal. An airline might have advertised prices upon booking. The traveler may realize the baggage and airport fees make the price higher than the advertised rates. This can also be a common practice with hotels and resorts. The advertised price look appealing and the sales promotion may seem like a good deal. But the time resort fees are tagged onto the price, the promotional discount isn't that attractive. Second could be ambiguous terms and conditions. Legal documents have been considered tricky to maneuver. A company may have the terms and conditions and a link to click or simply acknowledge that you have to read through 15,000 word document for understanding. But does anybody really read the documents? Do consumers really understand what they're reading and agreeing to? Most likely the legal jargon has gone unread and the consumer is typically unaware of what they have agreed to. However, it is in the best interest of the company to look out for the best interest of their customers. If the end goal is long-term customer satisfaction, all of the work of the company should be around making sure the customer is satisfied. Providing ambiguous terms and conditions does nothing to really protect the customer relationship. Then ethical issues in financial management. A sound financial policy and effective management control is very important for good corporate governance. Many unethical practices noticed in this area of financial management are putting pressures on the regulators and governments, which affect both internal and external stakeholders. Some of the noteworthy unethical issues in financial activities and markets are concealment of facts. In case of Satyam scam, for years the real financial position was concealed, but unrealistic financial position was reflected in a systematic manner to appear as realistic number. Money laundering activities. This is not only unethical but also criminal and illegal. These activities include conversion of illegal money into legal money, using the banks as channels to affect such activities. Misappropriation and diversion of funds. Many business enterprises, including corporates, avail of loans and do not use the funds for the purpose the loan was availed of, but divert the funds for other activities. For example, a manufacturing company avails of working capital finance for production purpose. The funds are raised against hypothecation of goods. However, the funds are not used for production of the goods but invested in real estate sector and or capital markets to earn higher returns. Though the repayment of the loan is on schedule, these activities of the company are unethical on account of misappropriation of funds. Fourth, lack of internal control. Due to weak internal control at appropriate levels, sometimes loans become non performing assets. Unethical practices like corruption, diversion and misappropriation of funds, loans granted against collateral which are of inferior quality, lesser value, etc., not only affect the performance of the banks but also increases the levels of non-performing assets. Non-compliance of regulatory and legal framework. Banks face many compliance issues by not following the rules and regulations. These non compliance have created avenues for conversions of black money to legal money through banking channels and made banks not only to face embarrassment but also reputational risk. Let's talk about ethical concerns in corporate finance. In business, management and other employees need to act under the highest ethical standards, that is, act with honesty and integrity. No conflicts of interest, accuracy, etc. in all financial activities. Non ethical practice which may cause business failures include huge losses. They could be insider trading, where an individual fails to maintain confidentiality of information about a business and instead uses such knowledge for personal financial gain. Creative accounting, the manipulation of financial data for financial statements by showing non existing losses in order to take benefits on tax liabilities or increase companies' revenue, reducing expenses to increase profit in order to attract investors. Asset misappropriation, the use of company assets for self gain through overbilling, inflated business expenses, altered checks, fraud in payroll, etc. Standards for disclosure of information. As much as disclosing a lot is an issue, disclosing little is also a matter in question. Proper disclosure of information narrows chances of staff with insider information using it for personal gain or profit, thus increasing transparency in the market. So, what does acting ethically entail in the field of corporate finance? It talks about with acting in honesty and integrity, disclosure of accurate information, avoid conflicts of interest, report any violation of ethical behavior, and ethics and internal control. The up and growing tech industry is full of ethical crises that keep coming up now and then. First, we could talk about is consumer piracy. It is an important aspect of ethical issues in information technology. IT facilities, the users having their own hardware, operating system, and software tools have to access the servers that are connected to each other and to users by a network. Due to the distribution of the network on a large scale, data or information transfer in a big amount takes place, which leads to the hidden chance of disclosing information and violating the privacy of any individual or group. It is major challenge for IT society and organization to maintain the privacy and integrity of data. Accidental disclosure to inappropriate individuals and provisions to protect the accuracy of data also comes with a privacy issue. Second, access right. The ethical issues in IT is access right. It becomes a high priority issue for the IT and cyberspace with great advancement in technology. E-commerce and electronic payment systems evolution on the internet heightened this issue for various corporate organizations and government agencies. Network on the internet cannot be made secure from unauthorized access. Generally, the intrusion detection system are used to determine whether the user is an intruder or an appropriate user. Third, AI bias. Artificial intelligence offers incredible opportunities to automate and augment how we work, but we must be clear sighted in the way we implement these technologies. Ethical issues around bias are very real and we need to upfront about discussing them. Bad data and bad algorithms will be undoing of AI unless they are tackled directly and clearly. Internet of Things data collection and use. The integration of Internet of Things with AI creates technology with both ethical and security concerns. As artificial intelligence becomes more ingrained with the Internet of Things, our habits, preferences, and behaviors will be enhanced and supported more effectively and efficiently through the integration, making this reality seamless. That invisibility may raise ethical concern about how our data is used. Next is patents. It is often difficult to deal with these types of ethical issues. A patent can preserve the unique and secret aspect of an idea. Obtaining a patent is very difficult as compared with obtaining a copyright. A thorough disclosure is required with the software. The patent holder has to reveal the full details of program to a proficient programmer for building a program. Next is copyright. The information security specialists are to be familiar with the necessary concept of the copyright law. Copyright law works as a very powerful legal tool in protecting computer software, both before a security breach and surely after a security breach. Next, intrusive cybersecurity technology. An area which is concerning right now is cybersecurity. While it is vital we protect ourselves from nefarious actors and online criminals, the pace of investment in cybersecurity technology is far outstripping the ethical consequences debate. Omnipresent technology designed to keep us safe may not be very difficult from technology deployed to keep us quiet if we are not careful. And lastly, piracy. Piracy is an activity in which the creation of illegal copy of the software is made. It is entirely up to the owner of the software as to whether or not users can make backup copies of their software. As laws may for copyright protection are evolving, also legislation that would stop unauthorized duplication of software is in consideration. The software industry is prepared to do encounter against software piracy. The courts are dealing with an increasing number of actions concerning the protection of the software. And lastly, talking about ethical concerns in personal selling. It could be inflating sales data because sales professionals are often given sales targets and expectations to meet the targets. They are at risk of finding methods of inflating their sales numbers to meet the targets. Second would be accepting kickbacks. Another unethical practice is when sales professionals accept kickbacks. There are many forms of kickback. Companies that deal internationally are often at the biggest risk for kickbacks as it is a common practice in some countries. Sales professionals that have long-term relationships can be tempted to take advantage of the situation, particularly if both sides are profit from the scheme. There are many types of kickback schemes. Primarily, a kickback scheme involves two people who work together to change the pricing structure and in turn they both generally pocket some profit from the sale. Under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, it is unlawful to pay or promise to pay another person for the purpose of retaining their business. With this, we come to the end of this unit. Thank you.